You are listening to the Connect with Us podcast from Connect English Community. The Connect with Us podcast is a fun conversation about all kinds of things that take place in and around our English learning community. We'll talk about different sides of the languages and cultures in which we live and learn every day. And we invite you to join us on this journey so that by connecting with us, we can encourage you along the way.
Connect with us, and we'll connect you to the world.
Welcome to the Connect with Us podcast with the three of us again. This is our second episode. Woo, very exciting, yeah? We're so excited. We hope you have watched our first episode, yeah? It will help you to understand better about the Connect with Us podcast. So how is everybody?
Doing well.
Doing well?
Yes, I'm good. So far, so good.
Okay. I'm actually feeling, it's okay. I'm okay, but my voice is a little bit hoarse.
I see. And the cows?
The what?
You said your voice is hoarse.
See?
So what about the cows?
I was about to ask him to explain what actually horse, not horse with four legs means, but you know, when
the
it comes
other
to
horse.
voice.
The pony. No.
Sure.
Okay. So
Maybe the unicorn.
yes. So it turns out in English we have two words that are both pronounced horse. One is horse, and that's the animal that you are familiar with. The other one is hoarse, and that kind of horse is when your voice isn't working very well. So Miss Ade today is horse, horse.
Thank you. New vocabulary, yeah? I can still do the podcast, but maybe my voice is not 100%. So please, I beg your pardon.
That's all right. I think we won't be entering the Grammys for at least a couple of years.
Oh man!
And as long I hear on the headphone, it's still good.
Okay, all right.
Still awesome.
I was
Still
hoping
amazing.
Grammy Awards is in order, but well, we can wait.
Next year.
Okay. So, what did y'all do for last weekend?
What did I do for the weekend? Okay, so last weekend, I had a special event, actually.
What is
I had to
that?
think. I had to remember last weekend first. So last Saturday, here at Connect, we are getting ready for the Lampung English Festival. And as part of the Lampung English Festival, we are having a big event at the end where Miss Ade and friends will be singing. And in order to put on this event, we need to rent a nice space. And so we needed to find some money for that. But we didn't have any, so we had a big fundraiser here at Connect.
Okay, so there was a fundraising activity. You did some
Yes.
sort of activity to raise fund. I have to admit, I wasn't here because I have other things to do. So I would like to hear actually, what was the activity that you did for the fundraising?
Okay, so this year, Connect, for our fundraiser, we had a yard sale. Sometimes it's called a garage sale. They have all kinds of names for it in the U.S. Some parts in the U.S. even call it a rummage sale.
A rummage sale.
But most people where I live call it a yard sale. So basically we had different items from, normally it would be from your house. In this case, it was from around Connect and from the houses of our different friends from Connect. And they donated those items to us. And then we sold them as used items to people. And then the money that we got from that, we're going to use to help put on the Lampung English Festival.
All right. When I was thinking about a topic, idea for our second episode, I mean, I'm obviously still new to this, but my mind just think about, this is one of a very universal concept, fundraising through yard sale, by doing yard sale or garage sale, however we call it. And in Indonesia, it's also very common for us to do it here. So, Gary, like, have you ever done like the same thing, like a activity? Well, let's talk about fundraising first. So have you ever conducted or initiated some sort of activity?
I wish I could say no, so it will be there's no answer for this question. So.
That's cheating.
But yes, I did it with my college friends, we fundraising for our yearly event because we have a kind of farewell party. So we have to invite the really good, you guys.
Okay, artists. Okay.
Entertainment artists. Then,
Nice.
Because of that, we have to collect the money, and usually we do the fundraising for that.
Okay.
So we sell maybe food or maybe our second-hand thing. So it will be make money.
All right, it will get some money. Very good. It's interesting. I'm thinking I've watched some videos and Googled a few ideas and what people around the world do to raise fund. But let's hear from like us that are here first, and more specifically, more details. Because once again, when it comes to, I guess like earning money, one of the most universal things, yeah. So raising fund for a certain activity, I guess to me it's very interesting how we do the same thing. So in America, Eric, tell us more other things that people do to raise fund besides yard sale or garage sale.
Okay, so a lot of times we will get some sort of a working agreement with different companies that sell all kinds of things, and basically we will help them to sell their product. And when we do that, then the school or the organization that we're part of will get a certain amount of the proceeds that come from that. So I remember when I was in high school, I was in a choir, and
What years is that?
it was
No need to mention.
I don't mind.
Okay.
I'm still
Go for
young.
it.
So I was in high school from 94 to 98. Whoa! Yes. So at that time, I was in choir and we were having a fundraiser. And so one of the things that we sold was actually cheese. Now, I know there are lots of jokes about Americans and cheese because when I first came to Indonesia, everybody said that Americans smell like cheese.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't know whether that's true or not. Cheese is basically mold. So basically they told me I smelled like mold. And I wasn't really sure how to take
goodness.
that. But I do love cheese. And I think it smells good. So I just decided to think about the positive aspects of this. But anyway, that's beside the point. So cheese, yes. So we were selling cheese because cheese is something that's very popular in America. We use it in lots of our food. And there was a local cheese company or cheese shop that everybody loved to get their cheese. And because it was a local place, it wasn't like you could just go to the grocery store and buy it with everything else. And so it was actually located out of town and kind of hard to get to. And so by us selling it, it really helped them, but it also helped all the people who liked to eat the cheese but didn't want to drive there. And so we sold the cheese, and then we got a certain percentage of that money then that went to our choir to help us prepare for our competition.
All right, cheese. Interesting. Here in Indonesia, I don't know if that's gonna. Do you think it's gonna work if we sell cheese here?
No, singkong. Singkong sounds
Exactly. All right. So Gary, earlier you mentioned some of more of like a category of things people gather and sell. But what are some of the items you remember that you have gathered and then sold before?
T-shirt.
Okay,
and then,
t-shirts.
Clothes. Yeah.
Okay, clothes.
Many of clothes, and then I guess shoes.
Shoes. All right.
Yeah, maybe that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
People will be interested in it, yeah, and they want
People will be
to
interested
buy,
in it,
and
yes.
you can collect some money from it, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, but have you ever found some? I mean, these are more common. You have food, clothes, stationery, books. Those are very common, yeah. But what have you ever had? Oh, have you ever found some bizarre items that were collected or donated for you to sell? Have you ever found some sort of things?
Well, I don't know about donated, but one time it was wrapping paper.
Wrapping
And so,
paper,
yeah, in
okay.
America, most Americans are celebrating Christmas.
Okay.
And so, as it leads up to Christmas, people are buying a lot of gifts. And they have to wrap the gift. They don't have to, but we do traditionally
yeah.
wrap the gifts in special decorative paper because it makes it look nice.
It does.
And so, leading up to Christmas, then we sold wrapping paper. But it was really nice wrapping paper, like all different colors and different sizes and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, that was kind of unusual. But again, kind of paying attention to what people are interested in. So if we had tried to sell that at any other time of year, it wouldn't have worked. But selling it as we were leading up to Christmas, then everybody wanted to buy the wrapping paper so that they could wrap their gifts nice.
I was in this, I was visiting a friend on Java, and my friend is part of this music community, and many of them are they play music instruments. So I don't know how I didn't remember actually how much money they collected or they got, but they sold like old and these old instruments, like violins, like bass and guitars, but all of them are either they don't have strings anymore, or like it's almost like they have some holes on it. But it was very interesting because who would have bought some sort of things? Yeah, but I guess it's because it's in the music community and they can maybe recycle it. Very interesting. Okay, so those are items. Okay, we sell items to collect some money to raise fund. But I think besides that, people do some sort of like a service, yeah? So I would like to hear also your experience, Gary. Besides selling items or stuff, what are some of the actions or service that you've ever done to raise fund?
Okay. I try to collect the words.
You're doing good. You're doing well.
maybe because of my major is communication science, so we have a lot of skills to do the services like video editing and then
Wow, that's a good idea.
yeah, and then photo product, kind of like that. Then we offer to people, then we get paid from those clients, yeah. And then we also, because of the social media is really work right now, then communication science have 100 people that use social media.
Yeah.
Then we did the paid promote as a
Yes.
micro influencer.
Wow.
So didn't care how many followers you have. If you part of the communication science, we offered the paid promote for shared by us. So our followers is collecting. So
Yeah.
it maybe I have just 1,000 followers, then my friends have 1,000, my friends have 1,000. So that's a lot of followers there. Maybe see your product, that you advertise on us.
Yes, very good.
Oh.
But you do have more than 1,000 followers, don't you?
How many followers
How
do
many
you
followers
have,
do you
Gary?
have?
500.
500,000. Okay.
How many followers do you have, for real?
Okay. For real, 42, I guess.
42,000.
Wow.
42,000
A
followers.
lot more than 1,000.
At Gary Ardian. Check it out.
Very nice. Eric, tell us again, like in your hometown in America. We want to know. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Gary has skills. And so they did things that require actual skill. But in my hometown, when you get a bunch of high school students together, there's usually not a lot of skill involved. It's mostly maybe energy, hopefully energy, and maybe some brute strength, but not a lot of skill. And so we did things like washing cars or raking leaves, chores, things
Okay.
that people don't really want to do, even if they can do them. And so they were happy to pay a high school kid to take care of it for them. So we would do car washes. In the U.S., we don't have so many motorcycles, so no motorcycle washes.
Yeah.
But we did car washes, and then in the fall, because of where we live, the kind of climate we live in, most all of the trees lose their leaves in the fall. And so you just have leaves everywhere. And if you don't pick them up, it'll kill the grass and things like that. And so you rake the leaves. In Indonesia, you sweep the leaves, right? But we think it's really funny to use a broom on the yard because it's outdoor, and the broom is usually
I'm imagining it right now.
for clean things inside. So that sounds really strange to us. We don't have the palm that you use here to make the yard broom.
Yeah, sapuliri, that's right.
And so we don't have those in the US. And so because we don't have them, that just seems really strange to make a broom to sweep the yard. If you can imagine taking the broom that you use for the inside of your house out to the yard, that's what it sounds like to us when you say sweep the yard, right? So we have a rake. So it's made out of usually metal, sometimes plastic, and it looks kind of like a big fork, and you use that to rake up the leaves. But anyway, so we would rake leaves for people. Sometimes if you have people with skills, you might do painting or other things, but usually it's simpler things.
Or like chores.
Because a lot of times when we're raising funds in the US, it's high school students or maybe middle school students. So they're not necessarily people that have skills. Yeah. And so because of that, we usually try to find things that aren't too difficult to do.
All right. I don't know if people consider this as skill, but some of my friends, and I actually had done it before, is raise fund by, in Bahasa Indonesia, we call it mengamen, which is like, you know,
collecting men.
No, not really. It's basically just entertaining
kidding.
people
I know what he means.
by singing, playing
By
music.
singing. That's much better than
by
collecting
singing.
men. I'm glad.
Exactly.
Singing on the street.
Yes, that's right. The context of the word mengamen is often used like street musicians.
Yeah.
But sometimes we use that term still. Sometimes if we go to, if there's a gathering or at a cafe, we just set acoustic instruments and just, simple the audio. And we just sing for a couple hours. Some people, we can announce to them and tell them that we're trying to raise fund for certain event, and they usually either contact us or come to us, or they can put some money. We put some sort of like envelope where they can put their money. So did they do that? Do you do it in America too?
I have never done it. I'm not sure that people would pay me to sing. So I enjoy singing, but I'm not that great of a singer, so I don't know that people would pay money for that. But we do have that in the U.S.
Okay.
It's usually called busking.
Oh, busking.
But maybe it happens, but I have never seen people do that to raise funds for like an organization. Okay. Usually in the US, when somebody does that, it's for their own personal needs. So maybe if we call it starving artists, that's the name of that kind of thing. So there are people that want to make their living based on their art and the creativity and stuff that they have. But that depends on clients. And so sometimes you're maybe in between clients and things like that. And so if you don't have money, you might go out busking. To make enough money to pay for your electric bill or whatever. So it's still kind of like raising funds, but usually it's not for an organization. But it probably happens sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm very thankful. It was last week actually, and I go to last minute, but I felt guilty because I wasn't here last Saturday to help the yard sale because I had to go to my friend's wedding, and I just felt guilty, and I kept thinking, what can I do to help? So I was invited to a friend's house, and my friend has a group. It's supposed to be an exclusive, and I mean maybe not elite, but exclusive book club when she was in college. They love to read books and just discuss it together. I'm not supposed to tell which university and faculty because it was supposed to be secret and exclusive. Anyway, she contacted me, and she was they were having a reunion, this book club, and she was afraid that the reunion would be a little bit too silent and awkward because it happens, when you met your old friends and you haven't talked in a while, you're confused what you're going to talk about. So she said, hey, could you come and maybe bring 2 of your friends and play some instruments so you won't be too quiet? And I said, sure, I'll try. So we came there. I had no idea, but he just came to me, and I thought, maybe they would be interested. So I asked my friend, can we tell them? And she told them, and we just sing songs, and some of them requested some songs. And thankfully, we actually collected about $30. Yeah, worth of money. Yeah, so about almost 500,000 rupiahs. That's about $30 to $40. So
Yeah, it sounds more impressive than rupiah.
exactly 500,000. But yeah, again, it's not for me, but I do feel better because I get to help.
Yeah.
Very
And
interesting.
I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that you like to sing, right?
No, no. Look at my face now. All right. So when we raise fund, just like many other things, we often face challenges. And I mean, obviously, to just try to earn, as much as we need it, it's challenging. But even like as we initiate it or as we conduct the fundraising, there are often challenges. So, what are some of the challenges that y'all have? For us here, to be honest, is that when you are in one committee or organization, we often have different skills, right? So some people want to do this, and some people want to do the other thing. So sometimes when you you need to do it quickly, it's more difficult because the strength is kind of part into different direction. So I think, I don't know, I mean, in my opinion, sometimes we need to do one thing at a time, but, more focus on it. So we can kind of focus our energy together to get it done well. And then after that, we can try something else. So sometimes when you have just very different opinion in one committee or group, it's more challenging, I think.
I know. What do you think?
Well, I've had lots of challenges in doing fundraisers because, as Gary pointed out earlier, I've been around a while. So I've done a lot of fundraisers. Thanks, Gary. Some of the problems that I have experienced, the ones that we did for our school were always hard because you basically, in the town where I grew up, it's not that big. And so if you send 600, 700, 800 kids out all selling the same thing, trying to find someone who wants to buy from you, even though there's 800 other people selling the same thing, is sometimes challenging. You have to be quick and get there first. Yeah. So sometimes it's just about, being disciplined to go and do it all right at the very beginning and not waiting, because the longer you wait, the more chance there is that someone else has already done it. So I think that's one thing that I've had to face. With the car wash and the raking of the leaves thing, not everyone has the same amount of energy. Let's put it that way. And so sometimes you'll advertise the car wash, but most everybody only wants to hold the sign. Nobody actually wants to wash the car.
Okay.
And so you have the same one or two poor people that have to do all the real work, and everybody else is just there to look good. So sometimes that's a challenge as well.
I can see that.
And then sometimes, like when you're doing the raking of the leaves or whatever, there are people that work really hard and want to do a really good job, and there are other people that are happy just that someone asked them to come. And so making sure that you do a quality job with whatever you do. And if you're selling stuff, making sure that you have change, just thinking through all of the details so that it runs smoothly can sometimes be a challenge as well.
I can see that, because sometimes when people raise fund, they don't consider it as a real job. Like when they sell something, they think, it's just for fundraising, so they don't take it very seriously. That's not true. Yeah, I think on the contrary, I think we need to work even harder, because we're not a professional. We're not selling this, on daily basis. So we need to work hard, even harder. So yes. So Gary, what do you think
about the challenge?
Yes.
Yeah, I do agree with Bang Eric because of all the team. Because the team have sort of amount of energy. What did you say that?
Yeah.
And some people have different amounts of energy.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
And then we need to figure out about the job desk of everyone. Like,
that's true.
If I do this, you have to do that. So dividing the
task
responsibility is challenging for us.
That's true. Yes, and then stick to the responsibility. Yeah.
Yes. So earlier, the phrase job desk was thrown out. So just for all of you that might be listening that aren't from Indonesia, that's not the desk where you do your job. This is an Indonesian phrase that I've had to learn because it sounds like they're using English, but they're really not, because it's not the
It's
desk
kind of English.
where you do your job, but it's the short version of description.
Yes.
So they're really saying job description. But it
See?
sounds like job desk, which is an actual term in English talking about the desk where the job is done. So it's not the job desk, but the job description. So
So far it spells wrong, maksudnya?
no, it's not spelled wrong.
Spelled wrong.
It's just that you're making not an abbreviation, but you're cutting off the word, right? And so it sounds like the word desk to us, but you're not talking about the table or the desk where you do the job. So that's what we might use it for. We might say, oh, put it on the job desk, as opposed to the whatever else desk, the desk where the job is going to be done. So it's not spelled wrong. It's just that in the US, when we use job description, job description is the description of the job. Job desk is usually the table or the desk where you do the job.
Okay, got it.
You'd be surprised how many English words it's not really like
English word.
adopted to Bahasa Indonesia. It's still kind of in the English form, but we use it in Indonesian way.
Yes.
Even though it's kind of like English. So.
But I do the same thing with Indonesian words that I will make plural by adding S, which is not how
Yes.
you make an Indonesian word plural. But sometimes it's just for fun, but sometimes it just comes out even though I don't mean to. So
Yeah, sometimes you think in one language and say it in another language.
Yes.
Okay. Just one last question before we finish. Yeah, I know it's, time flies. Okay, so I have found a few, I dug online, I checked online on Google, and they have a lot of ideas, unique ideas about fundraising. So I narrowed it, I picked 3 that I found pretty unique and different. So I will tell you, and then later if you had to pick one, okay, which would it be and why? Okay? All right. So the first one is dog wash. So, people come to you and you wash their dog. Okay? And then the second is you can do, people can come and do yoga with animal. Okay? Like a baby goat. And they do this. So they have like little, it's not dangerous animal, obviously. It's like the little
Snake. Lion.
The animal is the yoga partner, or
Yes.
you're having to make the animal do yoga.
The animal becomes your yoga partner. So so people can come to your fundraiser. You prepare like some like sheep or goat. It's like baby goat, baby sheep. It's absolutely not dangerous. So not dangerous at all. So that one.
Sometimes it can be dangerous.
And then the third is, I think this is gonna be, I hope we're not biased, but the third is karaoke festival. Yeah, so people can come, you set a karaoke at a public area, and people can come and sing, you prepare the track. So I know it's a little bit different, but my eyes just somehow to these 3. Yeah.
I wonder why.
So if you had to pick one, which one would it be and why?
Okay.
Giddy.
I don't think we will have different answer for this, but I will choose dog wash because
Dog
sometimes
wash, okay.
dog wash because sometimes I obsessed to be a Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer,
Yeah.
because I really love the dogs. But if I can do the dog wash for the fundraising, yes, I want to do that. Why not?
Okay, sorry, I kind of forgot earlier. Remember, you're not the client.
Yep.
You are the person who is raising fund.
Yes.
Yeah. So think about the target is to raise fund. Yeah. I mean, have fun, but at the same time, think about the target. So I forgot to mention that. Okay. Do you still choose the dog wash?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes. Very good. Okay, Eric. What about you?
All right. I would also choose the dog wash.
Come on.
So there's a few reasons. A lot of this does depend on where you live.
Oh, that's right.
And who's around. But I know a lot of people that are kind of learning to do yoga, but trying to do that with an animal just sounds really bizarre to me. And so people that are really animal lovers would probably be curious, but if they had to pay to do it, I don't know for something that's that unusual if people would pay to do it. If they had a chance to try it first and found out that they like it, then I think they would pay to do it again. But since it's something at least that I've personally never heard of before, I think it might be just a little too weird for people to be willing to pay money to do that.
Okay.
For the karaoke thing, I think you have to, again, remember who your audience is. And so if you're living in a place where people are not shy and they don't mind doing things like that in public, then maybe that would work really well. But Americans' number one fear is public speaking. So anything that you have to do
Number one fear,
to perform in front of people, for a lot of people is very uncomfortable. So I just, again, if I was living in Indonesia, maybe it would be different. But I feel like if the goal is to raise as much money as possible, that probably wouldn't be the best way, because I think a lot of people are going to feel too embarrassed or shy to do that. So for those reasons, I think the dog wash would be best. I also think that the dog wash is the one that takes the least amount of skill. And again, not all of us have skills. So if you're working with students, or I just think dog wash is something that is simpler from the aspect of being able to get anybody that likes animals can wash a dog.
That's right.
And you don't need a lot of special equipment or anything expensive. You just need some water and dog shampoo, and you're kind of good to go. So yeah, I think I would do the dog wash, because I think in the end, that would be what produced the most results.
Believe it or not, I would choose the yoga with animal.
Oh my God.
Interesting.
Because I love karaoke. If I was the client, I would definitely choose the karaoke.
I guess you would choose karaoke festival, right?
But I'm just thinking earlier, and I think that like nowadays people are interested to something that's just either really good or really strange. I mean, if you watch a lot of talent show and different things, they are often either they're so good, so high quality, or just random, or
extremely
just
strange.
Bizarre. So I think again, I kind of think of with the karaoke again, because it's in the public area, people often still reluctant to do it. But, when people hear yoga with animal, and obviously you're going to list the animals there, and just, I think, with their curiosity, when they want to know, I think it might, interact or, attract people more, in my opinion. So I would
have a
choose that
question.
one. Yes, go ahead.
We are talking about like real yoga, right?
Yes.
Because in Indonesia, lots of people are named yoga. So yoga with animals, I could see like my friend Yoga showing up with his dog and saying, it's yoga with animals, give me the money. So you're talking about actually doing the exercise.
Yes, exercise,
of yoga.
Stretching.
Okay.
Yeah. And you take this two of the sheep leg and try to stretch it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just felt like we needed to clarify that, because in Indonesia, yoga is, like I said, it's a very common name, so we don't want anybody to misunderstand your yoga with animals.
Okay.
We don't need any lawsuits.
Yes, that's right. All right. Well, fundraising is something that very common, yeah. And thank you for sharing with us today. And we hope that this conversation is something that you found useful. You might get some new ideas. Who knows? Maybe in the next 1-2 weeks you will see advertisement about yoga with animal.
You never know.
You never know. Okay. So
if you do, call Ade.
Yes. I want to know.
0821. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't. Yeah, so make sure you watch this podcast on our YouTube channel. Okay, we invite you to to subscribe, and click that little bell, okay, to get the notification. All right, so we are looking forward to see you again, or for you to listen to us again in the next episode of Connect with us and we'll connect you to the world.
Connect with us and we'll connect you to the world.